Hello and welcome to another edition of the First Pitch podcast on Pitcher List. My name is Trevor Hooth. Appreciate you being here as our seasons are winding down. I've officially been bounced from all of my playoff matchups, so that's something at least. What do you say we jump in and see if we can't talk about some news, maybe help out some of you who are still alive in your playoffs? We're going to start with news. Jose Soriano, his season is over. He had a pretty good one at times for the Angels, kind of fell off recently, but he finds himself on the 15-day injured list with a forearm contusion that he suffered after getting hit by a 107-mile-an-hour comebacker against the Brewers. That's got to hurt. He is, again, his season is over, 15-day IL. Sam Aldegeri will take his place on the Angels roster and more than likely in the Angels rotation. Aldegeri has been good in the minors, not so good in the majors this year, but we'll see how he fares this time around. Paul Sewald has been activated by the Tigers. They acquired him at the trade deadline from the Guardians, and Sewald could have a pretty decent role if he pitches well. I mean, with Kyle Finnegan getting hurt and them needing some bullpen help, maybe he can fill that role. He does have the experience in late innings, so it's possible that he'll fill a role like that, assuming he comes back and looks as the Tigers probably hope he will. Cody Hewer has been released to make room on the 40-man roster. Jose Urquidy has been optioned to Toledo. Actually chose to stay with the Tigers and go to Toledo. The Mets bullpen takes a pretty big hit amid their playoff push / collapse. I don't know. Things haven't been going very well for them. Reed Garrett has been placed on the IL just a couple of weeks after returning from the IL. Garrett has an elbow strain. Wander Suero, Huoscar Brazaban, and Chris Davinsky have also been added to the big league roster, with Dom Hamill being DFA'd and Sean Manaea being placed on the paternity list. The Diamondbacks have selected a reliever. His name is Philip Abner, and a reliever through and through. He's only started a couple of games in his professional career, and that was early on. Kyle Backhouse has been optioned to make room for him. Abner, when he gets in a game, if he gets in a game, will make his MLB debut. And he's pitched at multiple levels, 3 different levels across minor league baseball this year with a strikeout rate close to 30%. That almost certainly doesn't translate to, a hold saves role out of the gun or anything, but in depleted bullpen, I guess, who knows down the stretch. And also that's a good strikeout rate. We'll have to see what happens, but more than likely just congratulations to Philip Abner, who's getting set to make his MLB debut. And rounding out the news, I don't usually go away from like who's active, who's inactive, but felt like I had to mention this one. Clayton Kershaw is going to be retiring at the end of the season. That is the end of an era, as rocky as it was over the last few years with health and whatnot. But it is, he was, when I was first getting into baseball, he was really first getting into his big league career, and what a career it was. So congratulations to Clayton Kershaw, first of all, for retirement, but definitely just wanted to mention that because, I don't know, Kershaw was one of the first pitchers who was purely dominant when I was starting to, like, for real watch baseball. I remember growing up watching, like, Chris Carpenter pitch for the Cardinals and everything, but when I was, like, getting into it and starting to nerd out, that was Clayton Kershaw all the way, and what a career it was for him. Anyway, let's focus on some other baseball players. Let's see what happened yesterday. Blaine Krim is enjoying his time with the Rockies, kind of. Maybe he's just enjoying Coors. I don't know. But he hit 2 home runs in the game yesterday. He's got 3 since joining the team. Still, he's hitting just 176, so not hitting all that well. But these 2 home runs give him 3 with the Rockies, and gotta love Coors. Speaking of Coors and what it can do for someone's career, how about the Mickey Moniak career resurrection arc? It's in full swing right now. He had a double and a home run in yesterday's game. Former number 1 overall pick by the Phillies, has not lived up to the billing really at all, but kind of is now a little bit. You got to take the Coors in the equation there, but hitting 273 with 24 home runs on the season. And so Moniak having a good year, and good for him, again, living up to that really high expectation from the draft that he has struggled to this point in his career. Health is doing good things for Trevor Story, who, besides having just a phenomenal first name, is playing very well this year. This is the first time we're seeing him healthy in several years, playing a full season. Story's hitting 268 on the year after picking up a couple hits yesterday. Those hits were a home run and a double. He's got 25 bombs, 31 steals for the season. And wrapping up the hitting, not a whole lot to talk about. Carson Williams launched his fourth home run of his career. He's done that through 70 at bats, and he's hitting 186 with 27 strikeouts in 24 games in those at bats. But Carson Williams showing off that power that made him such an interesting prospect. This was kind of a surprise call up, in my opinion, because he wasn't setting the world on fire. Still very, very young, very talented baseball player, but he wasn't setting the world on fire in AAA. Big strikeout rate. Was curious how that would translate. He's still striking out, not hitting for a high average, but does have 4 home runs through 70 at bats. So definitely showing that he's going to have some power and a bright future. But we'll see if that starts from the jump next year. If this was just let's see what happens and give him a chance towards the end of the season. Moving on to some starting pitching, and let me tell you, there was some dominant starting pitching in yesterday's games. I mean, lots of strikeouts to go around. Starting with Quinn Priester, he has just transformed himself into a reliable starter for the Brewers. He struck out 10 across 5 2/3 innings, allowing 2 earned runs. And with the Brewers this year at the big league level, he holds a 3.25 ERA across 152 innings. Only 128 strikeouts. He's not a big, massive strikeout arm, but in fantasy, wins count. This isn't a measurement of talent necessarily, because we know how valuable wins are in evaluating talent, but a lot of fantasy leagues, they give you wins, right? Priester's won 13 games, which coming into the season, not what you expected. The Brewers pitching lab did it again with a guy who's kind of been bounced around. He started with the Pirates, then the Red Sox, now the Brewers. And that's just over the course of the last couple of years he's been traded. Milwaukee seems to have found something, and definitely probably found something that they like in Quinn Priester. And he has, well, he's returned the favor and turned himself into a very solid starter. For the Yankees, Max Fried pulled out his dominant ways once again, striking out 13 and scattering 3 hits and a walk across 7 innings. He's got a 2.92 ERA for the season. One of the more interesting pitching matchups based on how it turned out was the Cubs versus the Reds. Colin Ray on the mound for the Cubs struck out 11 batters against the Reds and allowed 1 run across 7 innings. And Ray having another pretty good season. The strikeouts are definitely nice to have, not something that you can bank on. On the other side of that matchup, though, was even more dominance. Hunter Greene, he tossed a complete game, scattering a hit and a walk while striking out 9 batters. So his electric stuff was on display. He helped the Reds eke out a 1-0 win over the Cubs. He threw 102 miles an hour on his 107th pitch. That is insanity. That is just bonkers stuff. 102 miles an hour on his 107th pitch. And with Hunter Greene, well, frankly, just being Hunter Greene, all I can think is how fun that rotation is going to be in the coming years with Greene, with Chase Burns, with Rhett Lauder once he's healthy. And of course, Andrew Abbott has shown some stuff this year as well. Like, they have a good rotation, and it's going to be a lot of fun for years to come. Hunter Greene, obviously, showing us why he is the top of that rotation with his complete game. And again, I can't get over this. 102 miles an hour on his 107th pitch. That is craziness. Moving on, Luis M. Castillo threw 6 shutout innings against the Royals, scattering 3 hits. He struck out just 3. So did some good stuff for you. The strikeouts, not there. They haven't really been there this year. This is actually going to be the first season since 2018 that Luis M. Castillo's strikeout total will not match or exceed his inning total. Last year, it was the same. It was, I believe, 175 and 175. But in 2018, it was like 8 less strikeouts, something like that, off of his inning total. Farther down than that this year. So for the first time since 2018, Luis M. Castillo not going to average one strikeout per inning, which, isn't the end of the world, but just definitely notable because that's something he's been able to do for you in past years. But a great outing yesterday, 6 shutout innings, struck out 3 against the Royals. Jonah Tong showed up for the Mets, the good Jonah Tong. Tossed 5 innings and struck out 8. The key here, 0 walks. No walks. That's very important for Jonah Tong. His command can make things a little hairy at times. When he's not walking guys, he's going to show this level of dominance. When the walks are there, it's going to be a lot more questionable, I'd say. So Jonah Tong you got the good version, you got the not so good version. That's him right now. Jonah Tong in the future, hopefully he figures that command out a little bit, and you're getting just that top end version because his absolute ceiling is a front of a rotation type of arm. He has that kind of stuff, but when the walks are hurting him, not so much. You hate to say Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. That's kind of what it's been. He had his really good first start. This is a really good start. In between, it's been a little iffy, to say the least, but definitely fun when we get this version of Jonah Tong. Once again, 8 strikeouts over 5 innings with 0 walks in yesterday's game. Very good day, more than solid day for Jonah Tong. And wrapping up our pitchers, Yoshinobu Yamamoto has been lighting it up this year. Great year from Yamamoto. He lowered his season ERA to 2.58 after tossing 5 1/3 shutout innings with 7 strikeouts. So again, just another pitcher who just didn't give up a run. That was big theme through starting pitching yesterday. It seems like the only thing about Yamamoto's outing, he did allow 1 hit, but the bigger thing, he worked around 6 walks. So not the number you want to see. Still didn't allow it to hurt him across. Once again, 5 1/3 with 7 strikeouts, didn't allow a run. Just 6 walks happened. It happens. You don't have your good stuff every single day, right? He's been great all year. With that, I'm going to take a quick timeout. When I come back, I got a few pitching targets, at least a few pitchers in today's games that I would like to talk about. And so I'm going to. Stick around. Be back in just a moment. Once again, my name is Trevor Hooth, and this is another edition of the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List. And welcome back to another edition of the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List. My name is Trevor Hooth. Thanks so much for being here. We've talked news, we've talked hitting and pitching from previous games, as in yesterday's games. Let's keep it going. Let's talk more pitching. This is a Pitcher List podcast, right? We love pitching here. Taking a look at what's coming up today. Parker Messick. I'm going to keep hyping this dude up. If you've listened to the weekend First Pitch podcast that I've been doing, anytime he's on the mound, I'm going to talk about this guy. He had good strikeout rates in the minors. That's what he doesn't have right now, but he has a 1.84 ERA as a pro. That's through a handful of outings. Still waiting on those strikeouts, but man, he has been good. And I just hope that continues because Parker Messick has an intriguing upside, and he kind of has a more intriguing floor as a, keep saying this, but it just keeps making sense to me, slightly better Joey Cantillo. Very similar pitch mix. Messick's stuff is a little better, I think. I think he's got a little bit more velo. I like his changeup a little bit better, but you're waiting to see if he can get that strikeout stuff back that he had in AAA a little bit more at the big league level. Still would be happy to start him anytime if I was able to in my fantasy leagues. Big Parker Messick fan. Speaking of young pitchers, Jacob Mizorowski kind of fallen off from his electric start. I mean, how do you keep that up? But since coming back from his injury, there hasn't been as much hype built around him. This is kind of the other side of Jacob Mizorowski. His command can go at times, but when he's on, he has his electric stuff. And those command questions, I don't know, maybe held him back a little bit recently, but he faces the Cardinals today for the second game in a row. He faced them last time out and gave up 4 across 5 innings while striking out 4. I think things are going to go better this time around. Call it a gut feeling, call it what you will, but he has the kind of stuff where any given day is going to be electric. Trevor Rogers is going to be taking on the Yankees. Still been just unbelievably good in his starts this year, and this is like sustained at this point. He's got 93 strikeouts and a 1.43 ERA through 100 innings. This isn't just he came back from injury and he looks pretty good. He has been good for a while. He has 16 starts, 12 of them are quality starts, and a great first name. Just like I mentioned, Trevor Story, this is a high-end first name. You'll love to see it. Trevor Rogers taking on the Yankees. Tough test, but he's passed those before. He had the Dodgers just a couple starts ago, and he did well. And finally, the matchup of the day. This one is not picked for any reason other than it's two of the league's best going at it. Brian Wu versus Hunter Brown, the Mariners versus the Astros. What more is there to say? Wu has been fantastic this year. Brown has been fantastic this year. And those two facing off is going to be fun for everyone except the opposing hitters. They're probably not going to have too much fun. But if you love pitching, and I do, that's going to be a game you don't want to miss. Thanks so much for joining me here on this edition of the First Pitch Podcast. I will see you again tomorrow. Once again, my name is Trevor Hooth, and I must remind you, you are listening to the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List.